Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the end of July of 2021, and as we head towards August and September of this year, we're beginning to learn more and more about the future of the Star Wars universe, and exactly what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really have in store for all of the entire Star Wars fans out there. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars material. If you guys would like to go ahead and check me out at Mike01 on Twitter, you can go ahead and do so if you would like to. Now, as of right now, we're in a very interesting phase because Jon and Dave, they are very busy. I cannot believe how busy they really are. They're working on shows like the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian Season 3 and 4 back to back. Though 4 is not really going to begin filming anytime soon, it will begin filming right after Season 3 wraps, so it is being worked on back to back in terms of how it's going to be handled. Not just that, they're also working on the Ahsoka Tano series and other animated TV shows and new live-action Star Wars TV series that are set to be announced by this fall. So Jon and Dave, I mean, they really have their hands full, and I'm actually quite surprised over how much they're really, pulling, through this entire job that they're actually involved in. They recently got many new promotions over at Lucasfilm. They're hiring new creators to come on board of these new Star Wars TV shows. And let me just add in Robert Rodriguez. I gotta say, I really am very proud that Robert is actually stepping on board of the Book of Boba Fett. He's gonna do a fantastic job. I do suggest that you guys go ahead and check out some of his films, such as Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. It's going to give you a really good idea of what the Book of Boba Fett is going to be like. So, with that being said, the thing about all of this is that Lucasfilm is currently developing a major plan to reset/restart many aspects of Star Wars and how a lot of these new installments into the mandoverse are going to have a direct impact on the sequel trilogy eventually and how we view some of the key characters. So with that being said, now that both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are beginning to work on The Mandalorian Season 3, they are primarily invested in the Book of Boba Fett for the time being in order to finish post-production as fast as possible. However, one major development behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm involves a major piece involving the character of Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and even Grogu for the Star Wars brand. Now, it's noted that Jon Favreau recently placed in a big storyline for the beginning of Mando Season 3 to feature the training of Grogu with Luke Skywalker at the beginning stages of his Jedi training temple. Further, it's also noted that these new plans have recently been created for the Mandoverse that will involve Mara Jade trying to hunt down both Luke and Grogu in the third season toward the end of that installment. Season 3 is set to have 10 to 12 episodes, breaking away from the traditional 8 episodes. Mara Jade is said to have a major storyline in Season 4 as well that will involve a full-on romance between Luke and herself that will hold ties to the conflict involving the story of Emperor Palpatine and Grand Admiral Thrawn that will be taken directly from the Star Wars Legends stories from many years ago. Now, on top of that, there is also a big episode being developed by, of course, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for Mando Season 3 that is set to begin shooting by this November that will involve a full-on fight between Luke and Mara Jade in the middle of the third season that will show fans the clash of these two iconic characters that many fans love and enjoy. Now, Jon Favreau is set to also give Grogu some lightsaber action for the third season against a brand new villain that is set to appear in the third season that, of course, these new revelations that will also be involved in the third season will involve the character of Yoda that will actually be a major player in the new installment to surprise the entire Star Wars fandom, to say the least. Now, this, in addition to Luke and Mara's story, will also involve an in-depth story of Ezra Bridger being held prisoner in an unknown part of the galaxy that will be explored that will hold big ties into the Force and the netherworld of the Force as well. Not just that, but a lot of new announcements involving Mara Jade and her installment into the Mandoverse is going to be explored by this fall by Lucasfilm. So a lot of fans out there are going to be learning more of this officially about Mara Jade toward the end of this year, which is very exciting. Now, the thing about Mara Jade, alright, the fact that, yes, Jon Favreau hired Karen Gillan some time ago, that was his major pick. that is actually the best pick that you can really do for Mara Jade, to say the least. Now, I want to go over what's been going on between Luke Skywalker and Grogu. Now, we obviously saw that at the very end of Season 2, you know, the major finale that really blew fans away. I mean, it really surprised a lot of fans, to say the least. Season 3 is set to feature Luke's Jedi training temple that we only got a little glimpse of in The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson. And we never really got to see more of that, which we will be seeing a ton of that in, of course, the mandoverse. Now, the thing about that is that Luke's new Jedi temple wasn't really constructed until many, many years later, after where Mandalorian Season 3 is set to be placed. So, Jon Favreau is kind of creating a little bit of a retcon in the timeline of when Luke set up his Jedi training temple. For all we know, this could be a brand new temple, a completely separate one from Rian Johnson's, for all we know. But it's looking more and more likely to be the same exact one that we saw in The Last Jedi, except Jon Favreau is shifting the timeline, if that makes sense, to where he has his own students well earlier than, you know, previously explored in the sequel trilogy movies. Now, this is very interesting because what they're about to do is that they are going to explore many aspects of Mara and Luke in this new Mandalorian season, alright? Both in Season 3 and eventually in Season 4, starting them off as enemies and kind of eventually shifting over into them having this romance, very similar to what we have seen before in Star Wars Legends, which I admire. I really admire the fact that Jon Favreau is taking the courage to drag in all of these beloved stories from the 90s and the early 2000s, and how he really does respect the fans. I mean, this is really a big deal. The fact that Jon Favreau is going as far to do this, it shows that he's really trying to go out of his way to respect the entire Star Wars fandom. Now, the other thing is this, is that the character of Grogu getting a lot of action in Mando Season 3 is very interesting, because that does suggest and line up with what we talked about a couple of months ago of how Mando Season 3 is going to take place some years after Season 2. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, maybe just a year and a half. We're not quite sure exactly how long, but it is going to have a pretty significant time jump after Season 2. So, Season 2, of course, left things off with a lot of fans scratching their heads. You know, what's going to happen with Grogu? Are we going to see more of him? Yes, we're going to be seeing a lot of him, but in a different light, and I think that's the more exciting thing. So, I would like to see what you guys have to say about this entire scenario of what Lucasfilm is planning to do for the future of Star Wars and everything related to Grogu and the link between Mara and Luke, as well as Ezra Bridger, you know, part of his story being held as a prisoner with, of course, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Cannot wait to see what the future holds. We'll be talking more about this throughout the entire year. So like I said, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.